Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, hello everyone. Featured in international news, the President American Donald Trump has just made an unpublished volte-face. He has just returned his jacket. Yes, by this statement that he had to do yesterday, September 23rd, 2025, on the New York side. The President Donald Trump has completely erased the speeches he has given since he came to power, and he demonstrated that all those speeches he had to make were illusionist speeches on a peace that could be negotiated. Finally, he makes it clear that obviously he didn't understand anything. Yes, that he really didn't understand anything about this question of peace in Ukraine. So Donald Trump changed his mind. He changed his tune. What Donald Trump had to say, and which leads to believe that the weeks in the coming months, the conflict will be more than rough and intense, and with the probability of a great probability, of NATO's direct involvement in the conflict. So ladies and gentlemen, in the context of this video conferencing, of course, this is what news that we are going to talk about. But before continuing, I ask you humbly to share the video conferencing at most in all possible groups because it gives motivation and it gives more visibility in video conferencing. Share to allow others to receive the information analyzed 360 degrees. Let's go deep. If you are not yet subscribed, please click to subscribe. So what is the statement that was made by the American President Donald Trump? It must be said that it's September 23rd, yesterday, September 23rd, 2025, in New York, on the sidelines of the Assembly General of the United Nations. You know that the General Assembly of the United Nations, United States, is held in New York, right? Last hours. So Donald Trump had time to have interviews, bilateral meetings with heads of state. So he spoke with several leaders of state. He also managed to maintain with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. And so he spoke during a bilateral meeting. And little after this meeting with Vladimir Zelensky, he made a publication he posted a message on his Trust social network. And as we all know, that on this social network finds its political base. Then, and this publication marks a turning point radical in his discourse on war in Ukraine. What did he say? Here are the key quotes. He says this. He says, after my meeting with Zelensky, I can say that Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to regain the entirety of these territories lost since 2022. Do you understand? He says that after his meeting with Vladimir Zelensky, he is able to reassure that Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, can recover the entirety confiscated Ukrainian territories by Russia since 2022. It's a brutal change. This is a radical change. Himself, who said that Ukraine should no longer matter on the lost territories, that Ukraine should no longer be there. Ukraine would have to agree to give in these territories. He even went so far as to get angry with Volodymyr Zelensky because the latter refused to accept to let the territories to Russia. He said, but listen, you can't fight with someone who is stronger than you, who is how many times stronger than you. There you are facing a giant who happens to be Russia. So it is totally impossible. You can't. So if the latter falls, brutal speech, but ultimately it becomes very amazing and the world is concerned about the follow-up to this conflict since the diplomatic option is now swept away. The option military that the Union had to propose European departure through the agitated such as Emmanuel Macron, Frederick M.S. Starmer, the first British minister, therefore the Great Britain, Germany, France, they had to do the proposal. And they had been very clear with his name, Donald Trump. They told him that Vladimir Putin is a manipulator. He is in manipulating you. So no need to continue to think that peace can intervene through simple acts diplomatic. They told him clearly it is necessary to give strength to Ukraine. Ukraine must be allowed to win victory through war over the forehead. And so he said no. He initiated even to exchange with Vladimir Putin. But the worst thing is what he does, the peace effort. He makes the effort to put pressure on Ukraine. But meanwhile, Ukraine is doing what? What is Russia doing? Meanwhile, Russia remains stubborn to be able to reach his objective. Russia doesn't listen to anything. Russia has made no progress in the direction of peace. Even with a single step, Putin has not done. And so here are factors that contribute to this change of paradigm, this radical change of discourse. Since today you have around Donald Trump, these leaders, Europeans, who tell him, well, listen, Mr. President, you understand what we told you. Do you understand? Today, Putin is having fun with you. He is making fun of you, there. And he himself had makes a statement of sadness, of disappointment on several occasions. He has showed that he was disappointed. But the last time, what did he say? What did he say? Donald Trump had clearly told him that Putin had dropped out. Yeah, so very sad, and in a gesture that demonstrated that yes, he showed his good faith anyway. But Vladimir Putin makes no effort. And since then that he is in power, nothing works. So he is therefore obliged to choose war, since he is a unwavering and undeniable support, unconditional, especially of Ukraine. So, and this statement from Donald Trump breaks with its previous positions, since until then, Donald Trump spoke to ceasefire and negotiation or territorial compromises. So here it is now taking a hard line. No compromise, territorial reconquest, total. So if Donald Trump commits on the path to total reconquest Ukrainian territories, that means it's in war as in war. Means that the war will take an intensity never imagined, because the Russia is not going to let this happen either. And you understand that the situation is becoming very, very serious. So it's a turnaround diplomatic. In a few words, Donald Trump erases months of speeches conciliatory towards Moscow. From now on, it is war declared, displayed, and assumed. What does this mean for us? Drive. Here's the big question that arises. But whatever happens, let's continue to follow this news, and everything that will come from it, we will come back to speak here on the platform of the Watch of the Consciences. Thank you therefore to all and to everyone. I'll come back to you later with new news. It was the voice of your humble servant, the Samurai.